Welcome to the House of Tears. Your abhorrent host greets you once more, and I, of course, come bearing yet another tragic tale. The story of Lockheed House has been told before, but none truly do more than graze the truth of the matter. None are ever spared, not the young or old, the guilty or innocent, the cold and rotting or the sobbing and breathing. All suffer the wrath trapped in Lockheed House's walls. So this is your final warning. Once the story begins, you must hear it through to the end. There are many tales of hauntings, cold spots, doors closing on their own, and flickering lights. It's become nothing more than rote storytelling. All that ever changes is the method of the haunting. Perhaps a home built on desecrated indigenous graves, or some form of violent murder. Maybe some weak little demon without the strength to wreak proper havoc. Lockheed House is not this. This tale begins with a powerful demon who took a meek human spouse as a mere amusement, something to toy with to pass the time, as great demons commonly do. It's such a convenience, a little human to make dance whenever the world becomes dull. While playing the part of a happy newlywed, she and her human pet moved into a sweet little house. Lockheed House, before it was Lockheed House, was a generic kind of cute. Little white shutters on the windows and a picket fence. Only a few blocks away from the local park where they could take walks in warm summer evenings. A basement with thick walls so she wouldn't disturb their lovely neighbors, and an expansive kitchen for her to cook for her guests. You see, there were certain expectations on a pretty newlywed couple. Archaic, in my opinion, but expectations nonetheless. She was more than happy to comply. She held lovely little dinner parties, and if she slipped her guests something extra, well, can you truly blame a bored creature such as her? There was a particular joy in watching the gossip from book club chew the roasted flesh of the dear cat she had just been crying about earlier that week. The thrill of slipping magic into the drink of a married man who leered at her just to watch him embarrass himself, just as he stood up for a toast only to wet his expensive khaki trousers. The simple amusement of a wealthy housewife who crooned over her diamonds, losing just enough of her sense to bet it all in a friendly poker match among friends, and the excitement of taking it all from her greedy fingers. Unfortunate, then, about the other expectation that came with playing a newlywed couple so deeply in love. It was not to say that she had not intended it. She was a cunning demon to her core. But a baby. Babies are greedy and hungry, and the child of a demon was not satisfied by pureed apple and mango. In infancy, the blood and tears of his father were enough to satisfy, but a growing body means growing hunger. She was more than pleased to watch the little beast grow with every lost child she brought for him to consume. Listening to the snap of cartilage and bone as her child fed became a joy all on its own. Their basement was once the center of her slaughter games on drifters and her meek husband in a pinch. Now the concrete floors ran dark red with her son's gluttonous feasts. There is no love like the love of a mother for her son. It's all-consuming in such a way that even one as cunning and careful as she would have her caution consumed by the need to provide for all her son's desires. Slipping roast cat into the meal of the mouthy owner turned into filling her son's sippy cup with her blood while she still hovered between living and dying. Plotting a married man's embarrassment turned into slow castration so that her son could feed from his misery. A rich housewife losing her diamonds in poker turned into a roulette wheel of which finger her son would remove from her body next. One fine day, when her son was old enough to be left on his own with his prey, and her doddering husband forgot his lunch at home, she left a Lockheed House to bring her husband his lunch, a simple act to reinforce their long-lost normalcy. She smiled sweetly, joked with his coworkers about how dreadfully forgetful her husband was, and kissed him gently on the cheek, reminding him that dinner was at 6. I must ask you, do you think her crimes were quiet? I will tell you, no. She was proud, powerful, and smart enough to carry plausible deniability with her every act of torture and trickery. But do you think a newborn demon is capable of the same discretion? It is in a demon's nature to feed upon the pain and misery of mortal men, to tear their flesh to pieces, to feast on their blood and bone. It is a demon's prerogative. I ask you, is a wolf evil for hunting down and feasting upon the weakest deer in the herd? The Son did not take the strong. He did not consume the humans who lived good, quiet lives. His Father even offered his own blood and pain of his own free will. So was the Son evil? Was he worthy of punishment for eating and growing as any child is wont to do? The neighbors of Lockheed House believed so. You see, when she returned, she found Lockheed House burning. The doors and windows were boarded up tight, and the smoke choked her as she tore at the boards. She clawed at the windows, the doors. Her voice screamed for her son, the sound scraping her throat raw. Then a weak sound called out for her. From the small boarded window in the basement, her son reached out of the burning house. His hand was still small. The skin was singed and blistered, with splinters embedded where he had broken through the boarding. For once she did not revel in the tears of others. She crumpled beside the burning house and clung to her dear son's hand. She was the one who sobbed and begged for mercy the same way her victims had. What rage, what pain, what loss compares to that of a parent of a child? I must remind you that though she was a demon, she was a mother as well. Ancient demons are not dissimilar to humans, as they must learn to coexist for their continued survival. No matter how powerful a demon may be, they must still rely on the sustenance that humanity provides. If humanity dies, so too do demons. A predator without a food source is extinct. The moment that her son breathed his last, she shed her human skin. The flesh molted away from her new form. She grew and morphed, cradling her son's charred corpse and the souls of his victims. She grew from memory her massive kitchen, the white shutters and picket fence, and her son's blood-soaked basement, locked and concealed from view. Around the charred remains of Lockheed House grew a new Lockheed House. It remained a sweet-looking house that drew the eye of happy, newlywed couples without children. It was not haunted. The couple would live blissfully, and Lockheed House would ensure such happiness. Do not dare bring a son into the house. Do not tempt the grieving mother's greed and hunger. Do not bring a child into the house. Bring a child into the house, and Lockheed House would rage and consume. Then it would be haunted. It would draw the child to her son's beloved place, and it would feed upon those unlucky enough to wander inside. Do you feel for them? The victims did not want this ending, but those monsters certainly did. They got exactly what they wanted, and the unfortunate people who found themselves drawn to Lockheed House would pay for it. I ask you who the monster looks like to you. Is the son evil for eating and surviving? Is the mother evil for providing for her young? Did the child deserve to be burned alive? Or did evil beget evil? A cycle of wrongs does not create justice. Alas, there is rarely a simple answer to a complicated question. I ask that you think on your answer and return here again. Bear witness to what is held within my house of tears.